Where am I looking? In the middle?
Welcome to On the Block with Billboard, where we discuss all the hot topics, including Eminem's #1 slot and, a little throwback. And we definitely have a special guest today. But before we get into it, I'm Bianca Gracie, one of your co-hosts.
Hip hop better to call Lamarre in the building, yeah.
And we have Trevor.
What kind of accent roulette was that?
We're not even gonna get into it. We're just
up.
gonna move to Trevor Anderson, charts expert,
going
and
on,
of
y'all?
course, the one and only D Smoke is in the building.
What's going on?
Resume flow.
Yes.
Winner.
Yes.
Yep.
Inglewood, California
We can give a clap for
representative.
the we can clap for winners in the house.
Yes.
Celebratory, man.
Yes.
How was that whole experience, man? That was a little tedious process.
It was challenging. I had to stay on my toes, but it really brought out the best. Well, not the best, but it brought out some good moments in my artistry, and I think people appreciated somebody who's authentic and coming from the West Coast and got a story to tell coming off of a show like that.
Right.
Competition shows don't tend to attract the type of artist who is very specific about how they want to be represented. So. All in all, it was a great experience.
Man, as far as y'all had some difficult challenges. I know for me, my favorite was when y'all teamed up with the artists. You did Skywalker with Miguel.
Yes.
What was, I guess, your most difficult challenge, or even your most fun?
The challenge that I appreciated the most, or that I feel like I stepped outside of the box a little bit, was the sample round, and it was reason being. I play instruments, so I don't tend to sample a lot in my music. When I do, it's meaningful and it's intentional, but in the sample round, I knew because that is the nature of the challenge, I want to do something different. So we stepped out on faith and did something different. It was heavy content, it was real personal. Then we had all these notes about the performance being theatrical and all that. So within that given time frame, it was a lot, but I think even with the mistakes, people appreciated the fact that something of that caliber of artistry happened on a competition show. So that was a really memorable moment, and it was a vulnerable moment because I didn't deliver the performance like I would have liked to.
I remember that.
But instead of it feeling like a mistake, because it's a real moment, it felt like they shared, that moment with me. So
they were able to connect with you,
yeah, they connected with it. Yeah.
Nice. And then, of course, you're from Inglewood, California. Yes. And I feel like a lot of people, when they hear from a rapper, coming from Cali, they kind of have this certain mindset of what they should sound like, or what they should talk about. But,
right.
In your words, what makes you unique compared to those troves of rappers that come from that area?
Well, my experience makes me unique. I don't have, I'm super blessed. My experience is just it's super, in some senses, contradictory. You got the city, you got members, you got family members that's gangbangers, hardcore, and then you got, ministers, you got classical piano upbringing, and then you got, what I'm saying, public school and private school. So it's just, I got exposed to so much so early that I can incorporate all of that into my music. So I think that's what separates me. I can still tap into that, the core of what is West Coast music, but moving forward, in a way that's challenges people to vibrate higher, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think on the West, we're gonna leave it at that.
That's good.
And you come from a real musically inclined family.
Yeah.
I remember watching the show. I'm like, yo, this brother looks familiar.
Yeah.
And I'm
He
like,
took his glasses
Yeah.
off, like somebody's
Right?
grandpa.
I was watching. I'm like, yo, this brother looks so familiar, man. And then at the end of the show, when you win, I see Sir come out.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what
It all
the-
came together.
okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but how do y'all challenge each other creatively? Especially
man.
with your mom being talented with it too.
Right. Just by nature of being in the same environment, you feel the challenge. We're competitive people.
Right.
So it's not like I gotta say, here, I just did this song, top that, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't have to do that. It's just and we're also confident in our creative ability. So if he plays me something, I can celebrate that. Serge, I hear all Serge stuff long before it comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Jealous.
Yeah, the fringe benefits of being in the Goucher Ferris family. But I hear his shit long before it comes out.
Yeah.
So Sir challenges me to dig deep, because Sir, when we was kids, Sir always said no first to everything, because he's the youngest. So he's like, I want to pave my own lane. So if we're like, you want to go play soccer? No. You want to do? No. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's valuable when in your artistry, when you make it to a certain level, you protect your energy. And so his projects are so unique. His sound is so unique because he has this just authentic approach to creating music. Right. So when nobody sounds like Sir. Mm-hmm. So when you hear all these records, and it's like, damn, I know I'm dope, but am I doing it super authentic to myself? And not that I have challenges with that, but it just reminds you to be like, it gives you freedom to be like, be you in this song. So that's how me and Sir's creative relationship is. Like when you hear him, it's like, man, you dope. It's the utmost admiration, you know?
Nice. I love it.
And Tiffany Goucher too, my cousin Tip, my brother Davion Ferris, like the whole campus.
Just runs in the genes. Yeah. I mean, speaking of dope music, you recently dropped No Commas, which premiered on Billboard.com, by the way.
Thank y'all for that. Yeah. I appreciate that support. Yes. Hey, a little bit.
But go ahead, man. Talk about like the inspiration for that video and how it came about.
You know what? No Commas, and man, it breaks my heart. What happened on the West? We lost Kobe. Yeah. There are no words for that. When I came up with the treatment for No Commas, the line that stuck out the most was, "We could take a loss, we gonna get it right back," right? And I have a habit of speaking in the we, because I want everybody that I work with, I have a strong team. Everybody that I work with to know that they're included in everything. The way I talk about the movement based around D-Smoke, my team is included, right? So in the song where it's "we could take a loss, we gonna get it right back," I knew in the video there had to be a team of people around where we hit this mission to get back something, So then from there I started to develop. I was like, how do we make it dope? Let's pull the guns out. Then it's like, well, damn. And it's like, well, damn. Niggas with guns. We gonna do that again? How do we make it different?
We're gonna do that.
How do we make it different? We gonna have all women, all black or Afro Latina. You know what I'm saying? Because in the skit scene, the ladies speaking Spanish, they're native speakers. Right. I learned it in school. They're native speakers, and I sent out a casting call by way of Instagram.
There you go.
Who would like to be, a part of this video, and a couple people responded, and they sent me little videos of them talking in Spanish, and their accents were beautiful. So I was like, yes, that's what we need. And then other than that, the other girls I knew personally, and I reached out to because I knew their energy would lend to that kind of Girl Goon Squad vision that I had. So that's how that came together, and even down to finding the location. Selecting a director that could, bring out that energy in all the performances. And, I worked with a buddy named Justin who invested in himself. He owns a Red Camera and all this stuff. So it was like super homegrown project that came together beautifully. So.
Cool. And I love, you brought up the Spanish language, and I love that you spit in both English and Spanish. So what is the reason behind, just kind of showing off, your bilingual ability?
We just do it to impress people. No,
there we go.
Just a flex.
Yeah, not every nigga could do that. So we do. No, we speaking in Spanish. LA is super bilingual, right? I went to middle school that was primarily Latino, right? It was actually, before my parents, when my parents could afford the tuition, we had a couple sponsors. We went to a private school. It was primarily Latino. It was on Vermont and 20th, LA Christian School. And it was primarily Latino, and all my friends, they would just switch languages. It's, ¿Cuándo vas a hacer la tarea? O ¿Cuándo llego a la casa? Pero tu mamá va a estar ahí? No sé. And then I'm like, what the hell are y'all saying? Like, why are y'all doing this to me? And I didn't take it personally, but I was like, damn, you're not gonna have me left out.
I gotta step my game up.
What? Yeah. So as a kid, I was like, all right, let me learn it. And I didn't really get to until later. I took it in class at Inglewood, then I went to UCLA and I majored in Spanish and studied in Costa Rica and all this different stuff. So that's what kind of put me in a position to really access the language and the culture. In addition to always tapping in with my folks in LA, like the homies, the Mexican, Salvadorian, Guatemalan, all the homies who spoke it, they, you know, show love and taught me stuff, taught me the slang, taught me how to say some bullshit in Spanish, you know, so. Are we cursing on this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Fire away.
Right?
Fire away.
Listen, I mean,
So-
after the show, I feel like I'm a level 2 Spanish, so we
Level
can
two?
chop it up a little bit. I'm trying to get level 4 by Saturday.
Okay, for
gosh.
sure. When you say,
I got a little something for Saturday.
when you say level 2, does that mean like Spanish 2?
I mean, yo hablo un poco, you feel me?
What?
Hey,
You're doing your thing,
You
man.
feel
You're doing
me,
your thing.
A little something, but I
Hablo un
know.
poco.
You feel me? A little
Gatos
something.
and
All right,
stuff.
let's
It
move
won't move.
on. Because I don't know if I want to hear
All right,
what
go
you have to
ahead.
say.
Being salty. Nah, actually,
Yeah.
I do want to ask because I know you've been busy. I seen you in the studio with Snoop.
Yes.
Seen you in the studio with Khaled. Man.
Yes.
Talk about some of those collaborations, just connecting with those level of stars so quickly.
Man, you know what? The most gratifying part about connecting with the Snoop Doggs, the Dr. Dre's,
Dr.
the
Dre,
DJ Khaled's, is when you get this feeling of mutual respect.
Right.
And that's the same thing when I got in with Tip, you know. Tip didn't have much advice for me. And that's a beautiful thing. Like if you got advice, it almost means I don't trust your instincts, so let me tell you how to do this. But if their only bit of advice is, man, trust your heart. You got this, bro. Like I see you.
Yeah.
You know, I see me in you. You know, that's beautiful. You know, and that's kind of been consistent across the board. You know, Snoop gave me a little bit of advice on like, hey, bro, when you touch down another place, here's how you make more money than you would otherwise. You know,
That's
so
the
the game,
uncle.
they share game in that regard.
Right.
But it was dope. Dre's process in producing vocals, he's super meticulous. Dre is one of the greatest to do it. You know, so getting in with him, I was able to see his process of like stacking vocals, how many he puts in, like how many people are in the room that know how to mix. So creatively, there are no gaps in like time between the time you had an idea and executing it. You know, so, and the speakers in Dre's and Khaled's studio, the speakers were crazy.
I believe it.
Crazy. Turn it all the way up and it still sound as clear as, you know, a whistle. So
Oh yeah, they got the big boy speakers.
Dope. And but just before we move on to the next segment, we have to ask you about the album. What
Yes.
can we expect?
Yeah.
Give us something.
There's also,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of pressure, I think, from when you're a first-time winner of a show, like, you know, whether it was American Idol or The Voice, people kind of look at you and say, okay, now you got to make it, carry the show on your back. Is there pressure with that too, that, you know, you got to not carry just for yourself, but for the whole Rhythm and Flow brand?
no, there's no pressure. We gonna do what we do. And that's what got us here, you know. Sure, if I didn't trust myself, then it would feel like pressure, right? But because me being true to myself is what got me through the competition and to this point, as long as we continue to do that, we don't have to feel that sense of anxiety to be like, oh shoot, the stakes are high. Now, are there a lot of people, you know, we don't have the advantage of growing with a lot of people that most artists have, like growing gradually,
Yeah.
right? We're immediately in front of this large, so I get what you're saying. We're immediately in front of this large audience that wants to see what do I do after that? Right. So in that sense, you know, a lot of people are paying attention, but I don't accept the sense of like, oh, I gotta, you know.
Gotta live up to a certain
I already
standard.
take my music seriously enough. Like the pressure I put on myself to perform at a high level is more immense than any external pressure that I'll receive. So I'm not really tripping off of that. The album is dope. You know, it's dope.
That's all you're gonna tell us?
I like the album, you know, and so we were very selective about the features that we have on there.
Any of the names you mentioned?
We were very selective about the features that we have on there. We will continue this kind of process or this legacy. It's too early to say legacy, but this tendency that I have to tell stories, right? We'll do some of that in that project. Okay. We'll have some fun. We'll dig deep. We'll be West Coast, you know, and I will speak from this kind of hood elevated voice that I think people have begun to understand me to have. You know, I can tap in with the West Coast vibe and still, you know, speak from the teacher space, where I'm challenging people's perspective to grow, in the way that some of our great artists have, so.
So, I'm
Awesome.
looking forward to it.
All right, so let's get on with the chart segment with Sir Trevor Anderson, talking about Eminem this week.
All right, yeah, all things shady this week. Eminem, music to be murdered by, surprise album.
What a title.
Yeah, I mean, I guess play it at your funeral. Number one album this week, 278,000 units. That is his 10th straight number one album, and actually his 10th album to debut at number one.
He gets those stats so easily.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a record, right?
And when you look at that is a record. He and Kanye were tied with 9 each. When Jesus is King came out, Kanye caught up with him. Him is back in the lead, so we'll see. I guess balls in Kanye's court right now. And when you look back, I mean, that's 20 years, since around Marshall Mathers LP came out. His only album to miss the number one spot, by the way, is The Real Slim Shady, which was unfortunately number 2. So
Wow. Just number 2.
I feel like, who did it lose to that time? Was it Christina? I feel like it was Christina Aguilera or something.
It could Christina Aguilera was hot in 99.
We don't do a fact check after. I'm curious.
The Real Slim Shady was hard.
It was.
Also inspired some lyrics about her, I guess, unfortunately. But also, it's not just on the album chart that Eminem's doing big things. Also on the Hot 100, number 3 debut this week for the song Godzilla, which features Juice WRLD.
R.I.P.
I love that song.
Yeah, which is, of course, the timing is just kind of crazy. Again, we lost Juice WRLD not too long ago, but obviously the fan base, both Eminem has a huge fan base, and Juice WRLD, as we've seen especially since he passed, the fans have really been rallying around that. So a good number 3 debut for that song. 41 million streams if you want to look into the numbers a little bit deeper. So again, just huge resonance. Yeah. And that's just one of 12 Eminem songs on the Hot 100 this week. So the whole album, Shady's just got that fan base. It's selling, it's streaming, it's everywhere. So a good week to be Eminem.
Shady back.
Cool.
Shady back.
All right, well, of course, since we have a native Cali rapper in the building, we're actually going to talk about, Kobe Bryant's passing. I kind of wanted to just get into, his connection with R&B and hip hop culture, because I feel like most people probably don't know that he wanted to pursue a rap career. And I just think it's special to kind of just highlight that side of him, because aside from being a basketball legend, he was just so integral to our community.
Kobe, man. My friends and I, we used to joke around because he had the joint with Tyra Banks.
Yes.
The joint was a banger.
It was. Listen,
what I played for.
Underrated.
Beats and Bros, from Italy to the U.S.
Oh,
yes,
he knows all
Listen, Kobe was flowing on the record. I think he did a little bit Italian on the record. He had a joint. He had a Thug Poet. He had 50 on it, a young 50 Cent back in the day. Did a remix with Destiny's Child.
I like the feature that he had with Brian McKnight on Hold Me. That was
the video. Kobe was a little suave with it, man. And obviously, Smoke. I know you being a Cali representative, man. What did just Kobe mean to the city?
Man,
for you?
I'm gonna start off by saying there are no words that can capture what all that Kobe meant to the city. Kobe is a real life superhero. Kobe is a real life idol, image of what you can aspire to be, whether you want to do what he did or just in whatever you pursue. That's what excellence looks like. That's what greatness is. I remember in 8th grade, I pulled up to, I was little, and they were still playing at the Forum. The last year they played at the Forum, they got swept by the Spurs in the playoffs. And me and the homie were still small enough to just walk around asking people for tickets. Hey, can I get a ticket? You got an extra ticket? You got an extra ticket? And then finally, when both of us got a ticket, we'd go in, sit in the wrong section, try to get further down, and then they're losing. So these are the games where it's a little bit easier to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
The people working at the Forum, they know they're going to Staples next year. Everybody's like, yeah, whatever. They let us get down damn near to the floor. Wow. And the Spurs are kicking our ass, but we're like, whatever. We just want to see them play. They gave everybody Laker towels, and we were there enjoying it, looking up to Kobe. Kobe isn't that much older than me. He went in as a kid. He was 18. So he's six or so years older than me. So we grew up with him. And man, the news just shocked everybody. And for a second, I didn't want to look at my phone because when I got the news, I was like, oh, my phone is going to tear me up today.
Yeah.
It's going to mess me up. But it was when I started getting phone calls that it really touched down, like, oh my God, like people are like, not people out there. We are devastated.
Yeah.
You know, I'm devastated. And it's so inconvenient. And not inconvenient in the sense that it's like, how dare this happen to me, or in a selfish sense, but inconvenient in the sense that it's like, it just completely disrupts everything. Like you want to stop. You know, I wanted to just stop, cancel stuff, because somebody of that caliber deserves to be honored, deserves to be, man, I don't even know what to say. Kobe is a legend, and everything I think to say just falls short. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's
hard to describe the magnitude that he's touched us all. But definitely rest in peace to Kobe Bryant and Gigi.
And Gigi.
Condolences to
daughter.
the family.
Yeah, wow.
You know,
Yeah.
and to see their relationship, you know, to see how he took the time to love her publicly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that she knew, despite everything that's going on, she and everybody else in his family, like that's the character of him as a man. You know, he didn't have the luxury of, you know, privacy. So he had to be a family man in front of the world, and he did that. And so that's what makes it even more devastating that his daughter, you know, was there. And, you know, I don't know, it's the saddest thing.
Yeah, but we'll definitely be, you know, upholding his legacy, you know, for decades and decades to come.
Yes.
But we do have to move on to the album of the week, which is one of my favorite rappers, Lil Wayne. Funeral is supposedly dropping on Friday. Allegedly. Is this actually happening? Because I feel like with Lil Wayne, it's kind of hard to tell.
I think with Wayne, this is the only reason why I think it's happening. To be honest with you, he's been doing press. He's gonna be on Drink Champs. He did Car Test with Elliott Wilson. So that means something is brewing. And Wayne is at that point, man, at superstar level where he can just drop and
it'll just
don't even got to publicize it.
Yeah.
Look for it, yeah.
By midnight, it'll be there, I think, on Friday.
Okay, well, I'm looking out for it because, like I said, I love Lil Wayne. So
Coming off the Carter 5, too.
I'm kind of
so,
surprised
Yeah.
he came back this quick, though. I mean,
but
I guess
he's
he's
been going
to go.
Yeah. Was going for a minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to that.
cool. Yeah, well, look out for Lil Wayne's Funeral dropping on Friday, and also look out for D Smoke's album whenever it comes out.
Yes.
When's
When's that again?
Huh?
When is that again?
What'd you say?
We got that stone wall. Okay.
Listen, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Not letting out
He went
any
deaf real quick.
secrets.
TBD.
Yeah.
My mic ain't working. Okay.
I don't know what you're
But
saying.
once again, I'm Bianca Gracie, associate editor,
Call Lamarre, Billboard hip hop editor.
and charts expert Trevor Ed. So I gotta shout you
I
out.
said sign me out. Yeah.
And I'm D Smoke.
Yes,
Y'all
thanks
gotta
again.
be smoke.
Thanks again for taking the time to be on the show. We definitely appreciate it.
Y'all
Thank
go
you for
check-
having me.
Yeah,
Go
and
check out No
it's been
Commas, the
real.
videos out there on YouTube as well.
Yeah, and
Yes.
also check out Fly. Fly recently came out
Yes.
too.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see you guys next week for a new episode of On the Block. Bye.
Later.